Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be your first speaker this morning. It's just wonderful to be in a room full of such positive energy and people, I guess, like myself, who want to make a difference. And we're not surrounded by a phrase I like to use, the mood hoovers, the people that give you every reason why change is impossible and difficult. So I have 10 minutes, which is the biggest challenge, I think, for me, because I've got quite a story to share. And as the introduction said quite clearly, I'm certainly not here to tell you how to do it all or to say I've got all the answers. But Cornerstone is one of the largest charities in Scotland. Just for some context, our turnover is £40 million a year. Most of our work is commissioned work by health and social care partnerships across Scotland. We employ 2,200 people. And we provide care and support to over 3,000 children, adults and families across the country. So just a little bit of context. And our purpose is to provide high quality care and support to enable everyone to live a valued life, a life that they choose. And along with our values, our charitable purpose and our values are what I describe as our North Star, and they guide everything that we do. So the story that I'm going to try and capture the main points of in 10 minutes is about our journey towards local Cornerstone, which is a new model of care and support that we've been implementing since early 2016. There isn't obviously a lot of time to go into detail, but if you go onto our website or our YouTube channel, there's lots of information about local Cornerstone. And if you follow us on social media and if you want to subscribe to our newsletters, so you can get more detail after the talk today. But really what I wanted to cover was the why we started on the journey, what the model is, how we've gone about the culture change and the structural change within our company, and just finish with some of the challenges and the lessons that we've learned along the way. So if you can just cast your mind back to sort of 2015, like a lot of businesses, we go through a 3-year business planning cycle. And we were just doing our budgets, and we were starting to think about our next 3-year business plan. And I was at a board meeting where the conversation was, can we afford to pay our colleagues a living wage? And I don't mean the minimum wage, I mean a living wage. And we've always been a living wage employer as a minimum. And I drove home that night and I thought, I don't want to be the CEO of a company that can't afford to pay people who do this most important of jobs and not be able to pay them at least a minimum wage or a living wage. And something has to change. And I was fed up of going to conferences and seminars and meetings where everybody was talking about change, the need to change, there's a crisis in social care, something has to change. But nobody was actually doing anything about it. We were all looking at other people to do something. I wanted commissioners to pay us more. I wanted the government to make different policy decisions. I wanted the regulators to stop putting in so much bureaucracy and cost to the way that we did things. And so I went home that night and I thought, we've got to change. We've got to be the ones that start this ball rolling and try and influence the system. So with the support of Scottish Enterprise, myself and some colleagues took 3 months out of the business and we went to visit different companies around the world, not just health and social care companies, people like Southwest Airlines in America and Timpson's here in the UK, people who were transforming their organisations for the better. And local Cornerstone was born. We have a big, hairy, audacious goal, which is to play our part in transforming social care in the UK. But the 4 objectives of local Cornerstone, our new model and our new strategy, are just up there on the screen. And they're all very important, but the one I guess that I want to focus on today is demonstrating that we genuinely value social care as a profession. So what is local Cornerstone? Again, in time-limited fashion, I'm not going to talk through the whole model, but I just want to make a few key points. Everybody is interested in self-managing, and you can see there our network of neighbourhood care and support teams that are now growing across the country. And of course, it's a really important concept to the whole change process that we're on. But in my opinion, one of the reasons that self-managing doesn't always work, and we're one of the Scottish Government test sites for neighbourhood care, and the other test sites are in the NHS. And one of the reasons I think that the teams of nurses in the NHS are struggling is because nothing else is changing around them. And you need to influence the system, you need to influence your environment, and within your own organisation or within your own sphere of reference, you need to make that cultural change. So all these elements of local Cornerstone are essential to us making this a success. The teams cannot become self-managing in a vacuum. You need the culture change that goes around them to make it work. So this is our new structure. We used to have the traditional hierarchical structure of 9 layers of management, starting with a support assistant, who of course a support assistant can't be trusted to do really important things like give out medication or peg feeding. So you have to have support workers to do that. And then the support workers can't really be trusted to know what they're doing. So you've got to have team leaders to keep them in order. And the team leaders can't really be trusted, so you've got to have service managers. And the service managers can't be really trusted, so you've got to have operational managers. And I could go on. So we've removed those 9 layers of management. We have no managers in our organisation. And you can see from the organisational restructuring that the people that we support and our team members who work in the local care and support teams are the people who drive the organisation. We've invested in a team of coaches. So we have 7 coaches who are there to support the teams on their journey, but they're not there to manage the teams. And we have 10 branches that operate like franchises, so they can make local decisions. And the branch leaders run the business. They don't manage the people in the teams. So we don't have any managers. We have introduced a really strong coaching culture, and we've invested in people who are out in communities doing this most valuable of jobs. So we pay people more, we invest in their personal and professional development, and we're doing what we can to address some of the challenges that are facing social care at the moment. We've also set up the Cornerstone Foundation, which is a sister organisation, and that raises funds and distributes funds into local communities to enable the people that we support to live a valued life. And often people say to me, you can't have gone from that old-fashioned hierarchical structure full of policies and procedures to just saying to people, tomorrow you're self-managing, because of course there'd be anarchy. And so we introduced the Cornerstone Triangle. Again, it's not time to go into this in too much detail, but at the heart of this concept is if people have got the right values and they understand their purpose, the charitable purpose, and you trust them to do a good job, the role of the leader is just to make sure they've got clarity of role and responsibility, not too many boundaries and limits, and that they've got the competency to do a good job, to make sure that they've had the right training and they've got the right support. And then you can let them fly. We have now 56 local care and support teams across Scotland. We're still going through the journey of transition. And if there was more time, I could tell you so many powerful stories of the difference that it's making to the people we support, this way of working, and to the people who are working in the social care profession, who tell me how they feel valued, they feel listened to, who are growing in the role that they're undertaking because they're seen as professionals. And no longer do I meet colleagues who tell me, I'm just a support assistant. They're really proud to be a team member and to be trusted to do what's in the best interest of the people that they support in their local communities. So where are we now? And just quickly, some lessons learned. There's been a lot of challenges, huge amount of challenges. And my question for you, which I was going to ask at the end of this input, but I'll ask it now, is one to do with resilience. Personal resilience to keep going in the face of some pretty big challenges, community resilience and organisational resilience, particularly if you've got a board of directors, if you've got commissioners who are a little bit risk averse, if you've got regulators who really can't understand that you can operate without 100 million policies and procedures, without staff support and supervision in a traditional management way. You've got to kick back against all these things, and you need some resilience to be able to do that. But our challenge is certainly a resistance to change. Even when change is a good thing, people find it difficult. And you need to appreciate that not everyone is where you are on this journey, and you have to give them time to get their head around what it is that you're trying to do, especially if you're asking them to change. You need to have key partnerships. I can't stress that enough. Before we started the local Cornerstone journey, I met with all 20 health and social care partnerships in Scotland and asked them to support us on this journey. We're doing some commissioning tests as part of local Cornerstone to try and move away from commissioning hours of care and giving the teams the budgets and trusting them to deliver the outcomes for the people they support. So you need those key stakeholders on board. Both our regulators in Scotland, the Care Inspectorate and the SSSC, are also supporting us. And they've had a real challenge with this because this model of delivery is so alien to people who are in a regulatory environment. You must get the right people on the bus. When we recruited into the coaches and the branch leaders and into the teams, we didn't compromise, and we lost some very loyal colleagues at the time who'd worked with Cornerstone for many years, good people, but they didn't buy into this new way of working. And I can't stress how difficult this would have been if you don't know that you've got the right people on the bus, all facing in the right direction and 100% committed to the vision. You have to be brave, I can't stress that enough, and you have to be prepared to try and influence, as I said already, outside your sphere of reference. So for those of you that are friends of ours, on Twitter and on social media, follow me by all means, but follow our teams. The stories that are coming out from the local care and support teams are just amazing, and if there was more time I would tell you a few, but it's making a difference, it's really happening, and I'm really proud to be part of it. And I'll just finish with some thank yous if I might, because we certainly could not have done this alone. So I won't read them all out, but they're just a few of the people that we need to say thank you to, who have helped us on this journey. And if you're in the middle of transformational change, if you're just thinking about it, my advice to you would be just to go for it, because it's only in doing that we're going to be able to prove to other people that it works, and it is within everybody's control in this room to make that difference. Thank you very much.